lot of questions for our Callum Best, who's lovely, good chat,
Yeah.
so we'll have a nice chat.
He's also easy on the eye. Am I okay to say that?
Well, I don't know, because like we're just saying Tana Bon Mati's your crush, but you are
But I am looking for sperm donors. I'll make that clear. Am I allowed to say that on talkSPORT? Anyhow.
There's nothing wrong with being a sperm donor. Maybe you could ask him.
Yeah, well, that's what I will.
Hi, Callum. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Callum.
I have to say,
you're a strapping young lad.
And obviously the genes. Look, it's Dad, of course.
Well,
one of the best
that's
that's ever been.
Yeah. And then if I have a kid, it could actually maybe be all right at football. You never know.
Your kid could get the Ballon d'Or, you get the barn door.
Well, that's it.
I'm pleased to say Callum Best is with us in the studio. How are you?
Reality star royalty, was that my intro?
Is that what it said?
I think that was what was said, but then I thought to myself, that's pretty fair. I've been doing that for a long time.
But from the telly to the touchline, I mean, that was a sensational piece.
I thought so too.
Broadcast journalism there, Callum?
I like it. I couldn't ask for a better transition, if I'm honest with you. I've been very grateful and lucky to do some great TV over the years, but also some car crash TV. But I like that it's actually led me here, so it's all good.
Thank you for coming in.
No worries, my pleasure.
I mean, we've got so much to ask you about in terms of like, well, you're a Manchester United fan, right? For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But what still takes me by surprise is your involvement and your passion for women's football. I mean, we're all for that.
First one on Man United, I love the idea of Van Nistelrooy. I think he's genius. I watched the game last night and I thought to myself, what a great person to have. Who knows if it'll stay, but I thought to myself, there's a good look there. A random story, I remember, this is a bit tragic, but I'll tell you anyway because it's a bit relevant. When my old man passed, right, there was I was all over the place. I remember I was like drinking whiskey before this memorial. I was pretty lost at the time. And I remember Rude coming up out of all the people and like sat there and looked at me and I could feel his sincerity, like asking how I was doing. So I've always had a soft spot for him. So I liked seeing him on the touchline last night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, she must have been so young at the time as well, then coming up and having that conversation with you.
Yeah, and I was all over. I mean, I think I had just done a shot of whiskey at the bar. I shouldn't admit that, but that's how lost I was back then,
no wonder.
you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, transitioning into women's football, random, it just came about. Like, I've loved football my whole life. And when I moved here from California when I was 21, I fell out of love with football because I felt the pressure more than I had kind of felt it before, because it was put in my face a lot. And then a few years later, I started playing charity games, and I'd always go to United. And then I became a fan of Dorking Wanderers through my friend Mark White. I'm sure you've seen clips of Mark White on various bunch of amateur shows and stuff like that. And he said to me, we're launching this women's side of our team, because as a club grows, you need certain aspects of the club for the club to grow. And I think launching a development team, a women's side, the men's development team, and he asked me to do a little good luck video. So I grabbed the phone, did hi team, good luck, all that stuff. And then I thought, that's really cool. What more can I do there? I asked him if I could sponsor the team with a business that I had. And he's like, mate, do you want to get more involved? And I said, well, what do you think? And he said, how does chairman sound? I said, sounds pretty cool to me.
Right.
And I liked the idea of it being kind of grassroots at the time. They were at the bottom of the football pyramid, you know? As I'm sure you know all about. It was like, in some random pitch somewhere, muddy, nothing glamorous about it. And I've loved the idea of that. So I said, yeah, I'll take the role. And here I am in my 4th season, coming into my 5th.
What was it that you wanted to get stuck into at the bottom of the pyramid? Because to me, I'm like, obviously you're well connected. You're probably like, think, okay, maybe I'll start a bit higher up somewhere.
Yeah.
Why did you want to go to the very bottom?
That's actually a good question. And I actually think to myself sometimes that part of it was the non-obvious bit of it that I really liked. I like to do things that are like underdog and not obvious. And I've been very blessed with great connections at United and Fulham. And there's all these different places that my old man played where who knows if maybe I had the conversation, something could come. Who knows what it is? But I'm like, no, let's start at a unique, random, bottom of the thing and see where we can go with it. And I also realized that those connections that you speak about could potentially help that club and help that journey and that team. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as I announced that I was chairman of Dorking, TV royalty, as you say, came in and BBC got in touch and they're like, we used to make a documentary called Squad Goals. Did you ever see that with West Ham?
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
Were
yeah.
you not in it?
I might have been in a couple of episodes.
She goes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I heard about that
And then
once.
they released her.
I wasn't in it enough, I must say. I would have got the ratings in if I was a bigger feature in it. But anyway, that's
On that
not
note,
about that.
ours flopped too, to be fair.
Yeah?
Yeah, we did it. They filmed us for a whole season. I don't think it did that well, which I was gutted about because I pictured one of those. And at the time, Wrexham, the documentary, wasn't out yet. So I thought to myself, that could have been us, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't meant to be, but it was a good experience for the whole team. And the girls that kind of played at the time, it followed their lives, and it was good fun for me as well, because I got to use the TV angle to gain notoriety for the club and for what I was doing. But as I said, it didn't go down very well.
See, I feel like as the club is growing, like you're on this journey right now, what is the ambition? But I do feel like if you start climbing the tables, there will be more publicity there, and I feel like that, because to me that's missing in the women's game. I think right now we've got like London City, we've had like Michelle Kangs took over, she's involved in 3 clubs now, and she's just wanting to grow the women's game. And I'm like, there's got to be interest here from people on the outside that want to come in and watch the journey.
Yeah.
And I think that would be massive to help grow it. But what is your ambition for Dorking? Where do you want them to go?
I mean, I don't sign up for anything without trying to reach the goals that you can reach. Like, you know, you want to do the best with anything that you can do, and that's how I feel about them as well. But I realize it takes time, it takes money, it takes all these things, and we're not close to that yet. But what we have done that I've noticed is that each year it gains, as a club, we gain more notoriety, more respect. People are hearing more and more about it. And this season, for example, we had 7 new players come from all tiers above us. So I look at it like, if a player's in tier 3 and she's going to come down to tier 5, we must be doing something right, you know? The club, Dorking as a whole, is well respected. It's classy, you know, it's a beautiful ground. It has a beautiful lounge. And I think that the environment you create will bring in the players, and we've had some great opportunities. And what I noticed, I'll use one person example. 2 years ago, we went to the first round proper in the FA Cup, let's just say, right? The furthest that they'd ever gone in their 3 years, and it was a great day. We rented a big old coach and took it down to Portsmouth, and I'm going, this is our moment. We lost like 11-0, right? But in that game, there was a player who was their lead goal scorer. Her name was Sherelle Cassell, used to play for Ireland as well.
I remember her name, yeah.
Yeah, Sherelle, she's an incredible girl. After the game, she sent me a message. She said, thanks for, and I feel silly doing it because it's only a small part that I'm playing here, but thanks for making a small difference in the women's game, right?
Great.
And I said, thank you, that's really lovely. How do you feel about coming to play for us, right? I didn't do it like that because there's rules and regulations here.
Of course.
Yeah, so,
Just get in our DMs, Callum, it's fine.
I sent a 7-day approach, everything was fine, everything was all good. But anyway, she came and signed for us, and it was things like that where someone sees the vision, believes the vision, understands the process and what you're going through and where you want to go. So she joined us, and it's a moment like that in the club where then you get someone from, you know, a team 2 tiers above who says, well, there must be something going on there that looks good and feels right, good energy, all that stuff. So now we just keep getting better and better and better, and more players keep coming in. And with that, we will grow. So the goal is to take them as far as I can while I'm doing it. And I love it so much, I'm not going anywhere at the moment. So,
is there payment for the players at Dorking yet, or is that still something?
There's expenses. I don't actually, and I got to be careful about that. There's rules and regulations, but we're that close to where it should be, you know. But people do get expenses paid, and there is money that is paid out, but I don't think there's any sort of contracts that need to be had yet where we're at, you know? I think it's going forward. I think the next tier is when you become semi-professional or even professional. Yeah. What tier do you become professional? Is it tier?
I do not have a clue. I'm going to say it's probably the championship.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sure some teams down below will have expenses. You might have a little bit of something there for the players, but I think championship was where it would start,
Yeah, that's where we're at as well. There's other teams in our league that are, you know, high-end, lots of money teams where they'll be being paid a lot more than we can afford to pay. So it's hard to compete with those kind of things.
So I know the league actually, just below the championship, they've got a few teams that are in a bit more. They call it full-time. They might train in the evenings here or there, but some of the players would be on salaries now. So
I
think it depends on the club and the ambition of the club and where they want to go.
Yeah.
I look at it like if this is their lives. They all hang out. You would know perfectly. They all hang out outside of football, inside of football. Train Tuesday, train Thursday, games Sunday, the whole thing. Which I know is what you do as a footballer, but you got to respect their time and effort. So I think they should be seeing something back without a doubt, even at this level. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing that you mentioned as well. It's like they have their jobs to hold down.
Yeah.
Some of them are parents in there as well.
Yeah.
But they're doing it because they love it.
Yeah.
And you know, fingers crossed Dorking can get to that level. And it's funny that you mentioned, say, even Wrexham and what you were saying about bringing in personalities. I think it is something that we should embrace more, because look at what Rob and Ryan, like we're besties, have done for Wrexham, and even Brady to Birmingham. Snoop Dogg apparently is keen on putting a bit of money into Celtic, even though Celtic are doing okay. Just now it's the other side of Glasgow is having its issues, but it brings more eyes to the game, and I do think that you being involved in Dorking is good to get even some men to maybe even appreciate women's football a little bit more. How much of that nonsense do you have to put up with in terms of people going, why are you even doing that?
Well, there's a few things there. I think that everything helps. I think there's a lot of cynicism in like, well, that person's only going there for money reasons. But at the end of the day, I feel like eyes on whatever awareness you're trying to raise is always going to help. So if there's a person in the public eye that's doing it, it's obviously going to bring light to whatever the situation is, right? So I didn't join. I knew it might happen, but I didn't become chairman of Dorking thinking anything but that sounds fun. You know, that sounds cool. I love football. I love the camaraderie of it. I'm getting older, which means I don't play as much, but I'm like, if I can bring my excitement to the game and my love for the game to a club where it's on the rise, then I'll give it a shot, you know? But I think that even the piece I think that we spoke about just a minute ago with the Telegraph, and I was really grateful for that because it was the first time it was kind of, it's a tricky one with this because I'll look at someone my age, and someone my age will be a manager at, Borussia Dortmund. And you think to yourself, that's a high-end, established, professional role. And then I'm talking about my Dorking team, but then I go, no, it still deserves the same respect as that. Why not? You know what I mean? These are people that love what they do. I love what we do. So why not treat it the same? And that's why I'm doing it, because I think to myself, and that's why I like to speak openly about it, although it might be tier 5, the girls take it serious. And if they take it serious, I'm taking it serious, you know?
Yeah, if you've not got passion for it, then you've not got anything.
Too right.
Everyone does it for passion.
But just to add the little bit of the counter side, one of the questions like, did you take the role because it was women's football? And I'm like, give me a break here. Yeah. I took the role because I love the role, not because there's girls playing football, you know? But that's just my colorful past peeking its head out.
For me though, I'm like, I think teams should be allowed to have a blowout now and then. This is my ideal scenario. Away game, you're on the bus, you're way up north and you've got like a 6-hour drive down the road. Some teams now are flying now, but I'm not about that because I'm all about the environment, just if you're wondering.
Probably worse than taking the bus, but okay.
But yeah, well, sitting at the back of the bus with the gals, having a carry on, I mean, you're not getting lashed, you're just having a few cans to, de-stress and bond.
And it's the international break.
Just on that note, in the guys' game, honestly, they get to go out all the bloody time. They're out all the time. Do you think they're not in nightclubs to what time? I'm not even talking about that. I just want a few pints or a few glasses of wine. That's all I'm looking for. But in the women's game, it's like you're pure scaremongered into like, you can't look at the alcohol or you're a bad person and you won't make it to the top. I'm like, snooze and boil. I'm still hanging about here and I'm lashed all the time. I'm not lashed all the time. But no, I think you actually need to be able to have like a few drinks here and there, especially with the girls at the team, because it's just a good, it's bonding.
Fara Williams, MBE. Can I keep calling you that now?
If you want, I don't mind.
MBE is all.
Sounds all right, doesn't it?
MBE, Fara MBE.
What does MBE? Member of the British Empire?
I think so.
Jesus, imagine me with that.
You wouldn't be invited to the palace, love.
I know, you wouldn't get past the guards at
I
the front.
wouldn't, and do you know what? I'm actually delighted about that. That'd be absolutely atrocious if that was to happen to me. Awkward though, because they'll probably like, she's a superstar, she's such a good person. They'll be like, oh, do you want one? Do you want one? Handing out to everyone these days, aren't they?
They are, aren't they? No, I agree.
Nightmare.
Rather insulting from
I'm
you.
glad I got mine before they were handed out to everyone.
That's it, yeah, that's it. If you deserve it since you're like the most all-time cap player for England. So I'll let you have it. Ah, you're okay.
Who's getting close to you? It was Jill.
Is it Lucy? I don't know. Lucy, maybe someone said. Maybe Lucy.
Okay. It's quite crazy, isn't it, that you've got that many caps for your country? You're the all-time.
Do you know what? I should have had more. I'm not going to lie.
Why should you have had more?
I mean, early on in my career, I was, when Hope obviously took the England job, I was a naughty kid. I was a bit like this one. I was just naughty, so Hope tried to manage that through obviously not giving me the reward of actually playing for England. So in the early days when I broke on the scene at 17, I'd played like back-to-back games. And all of a sudden, it's like your behaviour. So you kind of miss a few games. It's like we'll put you on the bench and you won't come on and kind of teach you a lesson. And then I think I didn't get injured throughout my career that much. But then obviously Phil Neville, he's a bit of an ageist in my opinion. I felt he wasn't open to kind of hear my experiences of being there when he took over. For like 19 years before he was there, I was an international player. So I was trying to kind of share those experiences, his first, role in the women's game. And I was trying to share those differences between managing men and managing women. And I don't know if he was a little bit intimidated, didn't like me, or I weren't good enough. So I don't know.
So well, it's definitely not good enough. But that's my thing. I think now there's definitely a thing in women's football. And as soon as you are over 30 years old, you start getting written off. It's like, your senior player, your legs have gone, all that. I'm like, come on, like, in that squad, you would play absolutely all day long. Like this squad, the current England squad, in my opinion, you would be playing every game. True? Just
yeah, I think so. Yeah, no, I think so.
So it's like he's probably come in and felt threatened that you're a senior player. Why does that happen? When people come into power, it's like we have to make
statement.
Yes, it's like a statement. Why is that?
Ask me. I don't know. It's interesting. I felt that a little bit. I felt like when he did, and look, Kim was fantastic, and she was a young player, kind of challenging for that role. We had Jade Moore there at the time. There was a few of us in that position, and I always felt like, why can't you play the both of us alongside each other and kind of give more players in front that little bit of freedom? At the time, we had fullbacks that were more attack-minded than defence-minded. So it would have secured a kind of box in front of the, the back two and two holders, but he wasn't never prepared to kind of play that formation.
How old are you now, Fara? I know we shouldn't ask.
40.
You're 40 now. Like, look at Modric. In the
I know,
Champions League.
unbelievable, yeah.
39, officially the oldest man's player playing football. I mean, age is a number, especially if you can still play like that. Like, it doesn't disappear overnight, does it?
No, and you know what? I think we had the advantage of that we weren't full-time, so we wasn't putting the mileage through the legs really early in our career. The young ones that have turned professional now at 16, 17, how long are they going to be able to play? Are they going to play till I did at 37, 38? I don't know, because, as I said, training twice a week and having your day job.
That's an interesting one, because I think too, there's like this thing in the women's game, not every club, but there's some clubs out there are like international teams, and they think everyone has to be on the pitch the same amount, doing the exact same stuff. And I'm like, no, manage your players differently. So if you've got a senior player, surely they don't need to be on the training pitch as much. But it's like you almost get punished, because again, you're an older player, but I'm like, you can still, if you can last the 90 minutes, 90 plus minutes, whatever it is, if it's 60 minutes, brilliant. Why should you be forced to be on that pitch? If you're going to be in good condition to play at the weekend, what's the problem?
Do you mean training? Why should you be forced to do the same training as an 18-year-old?
I get in the men's game, they've got more staff and stuff, so it's maybe a bit easier to accommodate. But in the women's game, I'm like, it's just a no-brainer, but yet so many people are against it. I don't understand it.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's for the older players. Sometimes I feel like the older players want to prove a point that they can keep doing it. As in, like, the youngsters aren't taking my place. I need to prove that I don't need that extra rest day. But actually, in doing that, probably gives you that little bit more longevity with it. But yeah, maybe an ego thing, a pride thing with us older players. But certainly management, I think throughout the women's game, in terms of there's so many different things that need to change. We could talk about diet and nutrition. Does everybody have to be under a certain body fat in order to perform? In my opinion, no. Do you have to, it depends on positions. Do you have to be able to run X amount? And it does need to be managed a lot better. And then,
the body fat is an interesting one, because everybody's a different shape, different size. Like, you think back to your times being younger at England, what you were eating was such a big thing. Like for you, everything that all these players were comparing each other and whatever like that. That's quite difficult at that age, having to manage that.
It was horrible. I mean, I like food. I'm not hiding the fact that I enjoy eating food. And you train every day, you train to such a high intensity. At England, I felt when sports science come into it and they started to change the menu at camps, that everybody's watching what everybody's eating. And, when they're putting up your body fat, you start comparing your body fat to the next person. But for me, everybody's different. Your body shapes, as you mentioned, are different. And one person's body type to another's, in terms of what will get best performance, isn't the same. I always felt when I was a little bit heavier, I actually felt like I was better. I didn't look better, but I actually felt better in terms of having an impact later in games. When I was going through the stage of trying to keep my body fat low, trying to look good in my kit or on TV, whatever you want to call it, or for the tick box of your body fat percentage, I actually felt like you get to 60 minutes, I'm like, I'm flagging. And, it was always trying to kind of keep that balance of what's right and what's not right.
I agree with that. I know I'm in a place now where I'm comfortable, so I know I'm never going to have a six-pack. I don't want a six-pack. I like the finer things in life. But I'm like, as long as I can run, like I can still run. Fitness testing, like for a midfielder, I'm up there, I can run. I've got an engine, I can run, so whatever. I'm never going to look good in a bikini. I'm okay with that.
Me too.
But people are.
I wear a tracksuit on the beach.
But I think in the women's game, it's an image in the changing room. My changing room's banter. My changing room's great because we are all the same. We've got Mitchie, we've got G, and we are, honestly, we do not look like athletes. But I'd say they're the best players in the team, so I'm like, what does it matter? They perform in the weekend, so. But it's definitely an image thing now.
100%. And it should be a performance-based thing, not an image. I hate that.
Especially younger ones coming through now, and social media is a big part of it. Like, they have to look a certain way and then they have to hit targets and body fat percentage.
I'm going to start editing.
Have you noticed I've never put a bikini picture on my Instagram?
That's because it's on your OnlyFans. No. How much
Manchester United.
It's an album like that.
Don't worry, Farah. Don't worry, there's no secrets here. Let's look ahead, shall we, to the international break. Obviously, Russia's with us because she's not got a six-pack and her Achilles.
Because she's trying to lose all that weight and now she's getting injured.
Look at him sat here now, drinking water. Oh.
England will be playing Germany in the game, and then it's South Africa the game after that. Looking at the squad, another little bit of a tinker, shall we say, from Serena Wiegmann, bringing in the goalkeeper, Anna Moorhouse from Orlando Pride. Hannah Hampton looks like she's that out-and-out starter now for Serena Wiegmann. How would that make Mary Earps feel, do you think?
It's an interesting one. Goalkeepers for me is always interesting. You know, I was there in squads where, you know, roommate Rachel Brown was sat on the bench for a long, long period of time, and then you kind of get that breakthrough and hold on to the shirt for long. And goalkeepers tend to hold on to that number one spot for a long time. Mary's done it for the last couple of years, and you thought maybe she'll continue that. I don't know whether this move to PSG has helped or hindered in terms of the game time she's getting, and now out of the Champions League. Probably seeing less of her. There's more now. We're seeing more of Hannah Hampton with this Chelsea team that are doing well, and then it comes down to preference, doesn't it? Hannah's doing well. I think they're completely different goalkeepers in terms of what they have, in terms of their qualities. For me, I would still have Mary Earps as number one.
Yep.
I think she's, you know, we heard Serena speaking about Chloe Kelly in terms of building credits in terms of international football. I think Mary has that in the bank. I think, you know, her presence when she's playing is a little bit more powerful than Hannah Hampton at the moment. In terms of playing with your feet, look, we know Hannah is unbelievable. You played with her, right? So, you know, with the feet, she's like having an extra outfield player. I think the opposite to that in terms of her actual goalkeeping, there's some stuff she needs to get better at. I think Mary's kind of there with those parts of the game. But it's an interesting one. I mean, leaving out Kiara Keaton, that's an interesting one. I think it's because she's not playing as many games, but then you've brought Chloe Kelly in. So, I don't know. There's no consistency there in terms of selection.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I don't know if it's stuff going on in personal life for Kiara. I don't know. I'm not sure. But she's a young keeper and she's got a bright future, so hopefully she'll be back. There's probably no harm of her not being in the squad. It's probably good for her because she gets that taste of not being selected, and then you're going to work harder. And I think you're right. Mary Earps right now, she's probably a leader. She's a voice. She's a voice behind the defence. So I think Hannah will get better at that too. But Hannah's thing is just her maturity levels, and obviously we've seen that at Chelsea. She's obviously grew up and she's performing. I think Hannah's definitely the future because of her kicking ability. Like she can, it's such a threat that she's got. She pings the ball left, right, doesn't really care. Mary Earps doesn't really have that, but at the same time, Mary is a leader at the back.
Mary has that concentration level that you need in a goalkeeper. You talk about maturity, and I think sometimes Hannah kind of gets lost in the game, out of possession. Yeah. And that's something that I think Mary's developed really well and got better at, because Mary was a little bit like that earlier in her career. And I feel like she's got that, whereas Hannah right now, I mean, as you say, when she's got the ball at her feet, sometimes she's inconsistent in terms of her, you know, her execution of stuff. And it's like, you've got the best technique out of all of our goalkeepers, technical ability, and that inconsistency of kicking it off out the pitch from a goal kick, and it's like a little bit frustrating. But I think it's that concentration with her. She lacks.
You're right. If it was a centre midfielder, you'd be going, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, come on, was accuracy here? But like, yeah, that's a good point. But I think, how has England managed to get such good goalkeepers? Where's that came from? How have they all came along at the one time? Anyway, not my problem.
Right, today should be fun.
Yes.
Because Kirsten's coming on the show. I think I've spoken to you about my small obsession with her, haven't I?
Yeah, weirdly, I don't know if anyone knows this, but they won't because we've not spoken about this yet. But you said to me a few weeks ago, "Oh, do you follow her?" And I was like, "No." And you're like, "Oh, well, I've been following her." And I thought, creepy. And then you slid into the DMs, I think. And for some reason, she's willing to come on the show. So,
well, her partner, Ruth, likes our show.
That's good.
So if the partner's on side, pun there, on side,
right?
And, you know, sometimes it's good to get guests on that. So could you start being on side with some people's partners, and then maybe we'll get more guests?
Okay.
You know what I mean. Talk to me about Halloween. How did your mask go down? Did you do anything? I didn't see you
I did nothing.
Halloween.
I was just pure focused. I was just training, grafting. When was Halloween? I came back late that night. You had a Halloween party with the kids, and then you went trick-or-treating. I was a wee bit embarrassed for you. You were dressed up as a freak, I think. Was that what you were? So that was,
so scary.
I was just hiding in my room.
Guess who I saw?
Who?
Out trick-or-treating.
Who? Go on.
The Arsenal interim manager.
Really? What was she doing? She's not a bit old for that?
Praying the streets of St Albans. She was
Looking for signings?
and I'm very pleased to say Kirsten is with us now.
Hi, are you okay?
Welcome to London town.
Thank you.
Do you come to London often from Manchester? Or?
Not really, just for games. It's too big for me.
Really?
I think it's almost bigger than the Netherlands.
It is crazy though. It's crazy how big London actually is. Like for me, to get to training at times, it can take me 2 hours. And that's in London. I may as well drive up north. I may as well drive to Birmingham and I'd be in a different city by that point. Yeah,
it's
fascinating.
I used to live along at the River Thames at London Bridge and work at the South Bank, which is a walk along the river. And if you got the tube home, it would take you an hour. And then I moved to St Albans, which is what, 20 miles out? And I was home in 45 minutes.
That's mad.
Wow.
Yeah, in
More
Manchester,
stories later.
you can literally walk from one side to the other in 30 minutes.
Do you like Manchester?
Yeah, I love Manchester. It's nice and small. I'm a countryside girl from Netherlands, so I literally grew up with the farmers and the cows. So when I moved to Manchester, for me, that was like big city. But now I've realised it's
Do you have a windmill?
Yeah, we've got loads of windmills. Not at my home, but we've got loads of windmills.
Did you actually grow up on a farm?
No. Unfortunately not.
Okay.
Well, that's all we've got time for.
Well, that's it. We'll wrap it up, guys.
And I am out.
And you're 3 years now in England.
Yeah, this is my third year.
How's it going?
Really good. I like it. Loads of pubs, loads of drinking. No, I'm joking. Loads of hooligans. I love the fans. No, I'm really loving England. Very fun, having a very good time. Yeah.
It's all going well.
All going well.
And you're looking at Manchester City sitting top of the league, and you're starting all the time. You know, you're very much so part of that team and in that squad and really like broken through. I mean, it must be a good feeling for you being part of a side that's sitting top of the league.
Yeah, obviously when I signed, this is what I really wanted, obviously us to compete and to win some silverware, and missing out last season on goal difference was just so painful. So
that is crazy. Actually,
it was mad. Honestly, we were playing Villa, and obviously Chelsea was playing away at Old Trafford, and we were like, we know United wasn't in the best form, but like, come on, Old Trafford, like they put in a shift against us at Old Trafford. So we were like, come on, United, like the only time we were cheering for United was then, and we come in at half time. I think we're like 1 or 2-0 up, and we heard like 4-0 Chelsea, and we were like, and we were all just like, nah, no,
that is a sick way to lose the league.
Yeah,
goal difference, and you ask for one favour from United, and they can't do it for you. Yeah, just one.
After I've been so nice to them all season, one favour.
Yeah,
one of them.
It's mad.
I mean, it was a wild end to the season, and actually this season so far, Chelsea still have a game in hand on Manchester City. But when you look at the results over the weekend, another 5-0 win for them. They're banging the goals in, and the fact that it's coming down to goal difference quite often in the WSL just shows how important it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a tight league. Like, you just cannot afford to lose any games, really. I think they've counted like you have to win 20 games or something. You can only lose 1 or 2. So it is really tight, especially at the top. So yeah, seeing them banging all those goals in has us really like, we need first to start winning, but second of all, we really need to score all the goals.
Like I've predicted Chelsea will win the league. Do not shout at me, do not swear at me. Okay, but I'm only saying that because I'm looking at their squad and going, their squad is packed.
Yeah.
Like they could have 2 starting 11s right now.
Yeah.
I get yous have got a strong bench, but I'm just looking at theirs and I'm like, Jesus Christ. On the other hand, Man City play better football.
Yeah.
So I can't wait till when's the next game, do you know? Have you got that in your diary? Have you
Against Chelsea?
Yeah.
The 16th.
Jesus.
Of December?
No.
November?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Stamford Bridge, I think.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is going to be good. Oh, yeah, no, like, their squad's absolutely packed. Buzzing for that stretch.
It's going to be a good one, honeys.
That is exciting. That's exciting.
Who's going to be there?
Well, I will see if I've got a game that day. I might have to go to my game.
You know she plays football, or she tries.
I tried to play football.
Yeah. What did she try?
I'll probably be on the
Is that why
bench.
you're not drinking wine?
That's why she doesn't drink wine.
This is all an act. I'm out here and I'm lashed.
That's gin.
No, that is it's really exciting. How, in your camp right now, how do you feel? Are you like, okay, we were in this situation last year. Do you feel like you've grown for it? Are you going, no, we're confident. We know it's going to be a tough year, but are you going, we can do this season?
No, we're confident. We're confident. Obviously, I made jokes about all the time losing the league last year, but that's last year.
You've got to make a joke about it. I feel like you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of have to, and it's part of the trauma, you know. It builds character, and I think that's really doing it to us. All the traumas built character for us, and yeah, no, it's a new year, it's a new season, and we've been doing very well so far, and we're very confident in what we do, and we very much believe in what we do. So even yesterday at Palace, you'd be like, come on, get all the balls forward. No, we start playing out from the back because we get 30 passes and you get a goal, our manager's happy.
Really?
So, yeah.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And see, after what happened last season, hate to go back to the trauma, but do you practice that now, like the mental side of things in training? Like, do you ever have the psychology coaches? Because it's conversations we've had in the past with players that need the psychology coaches to get over that, to get that out of their mind, or are you guys just confident on your own?
I think we're quite confident on our own. We don't have a psychology coach at the moment, so we haven't really spoken through the trauma with anyone. So we just did it together.
Right.
But I think.
Do you want a glass of wine, or
Do you have anything stronger?
because we can talk?
Yeah, that's very nice. I think the big part is we all went to international camp, so you kind of had to go straight into international, go play Euros qualifiers for a lot of us. So we didn't have a lot of time to think about it. So I completely forgot. And then I went to Greece with my partner, and she turned to me. We were like lying on the sunbed, little private pool, having the best time, having a beer. And she turns to me and goes, lost the league on goal difference. And I'm like, can you please stop talking about it?
So you should have left her there and then. You should have, listen up, Missy, that's it, we're done.
I'm cancelling your flight home. You go and walk. No, but in all fairness, we've managed really well. So I would say we're over it now.
The thing is, we speak about goals. Now, we were discussing up in the green room about Crystal Palace. And then I think, did you say they tightened up against City, Palace? Because I think Palace are being bopped by so many teams, you know?
Yeah.
And they're going to have to do something about that. What would they like to play against? Or do you like teams that stick to their philosophy and don't change for anyone?
I mean, I feel because they had a bit of, like, a few lesser results, let's say it like that. Like against Chelsea, you really saw, like, they come out and they want to do what they did in the Championship, which, first of all, I quite respect. Like, stick to your principles. But against some teams in WSL, you just get spanked, basically.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just like, I don't... Championship and WSL, it's a different ballgame. I don't care what anyone says. Like,
it's different, so that's where you see the big results. And I think against us, they fell back a bit more, so it was harder for us to play through. And knowing the way we play, they just kept the middle so compact, which made it really hard for us. So, I mean, yeah, fair enough for them on doing that.
Surprise package, I think, this season has to be Liverpool again. I mean, you've got to give them credit for what Matt Beard had done last season, kind of finishing the best of the rest. But beating Villa yesterday, Rush's former club. We sat here with Carla Ward, the former manager, at the start of the season. £1 million spent in that transfer window. Yeah. Like, why is that not quite gelling yet? Like, why is it not? Why are they not doing better?
I don't know. Like, I can look from the outside and go, I think he's playing players that maybe shouldn't be playing. I still look and go, Kenza Daly is a playmaker.
Is she not playing, though?
No, she's been benched the last few games. But I find it fascinating because she goes to national team squad and she plays for France. Like, it's not as though she's playing with top quality players. So I don't understand why she won't be playing in the Villa team. But even when she has been playing, she's been playing out wide. So I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's came in, and I get when new managers come in, they maybe want to sort of show their authority. And I don't know, does he think, players aren't buying into that? I'm not really sure. But to be spending that money, it's squeaky bum time for Villa.
You need to be performing. Yes, when you got so many players.
I remember the same situation actually for City a few years ago. When you look at the investment, the players, the squad that they had, there was then that element of pressure then coming in on the manager. But Gareth Taylor seems in a really happy, content place at the time. Obviously, you're going to be when you are winning.
Yeah.
But how is he to play under?
He's fun. Like, honestly, my understanding of football since coming to City has, like, changed so much. Like, he is married to the game. Like, he loves football, and we really buy into obviously what Pep does with the men, and we try and, like, implement that into what we do. So everything's football. It's not all the running and like box to boxes and stuff that I got teased with when I signed. They were like, oh, prepared to do loads of running, loads of gym. But luckily all of our football is just training, it's just ball stuff. So yeah, it's fun to have all the possession in games. Makes me less tired.
How was your weekend?
I'm good. It's been a busy weekend. It's been full on. Loads of football. And like a good student that I am, I watched 2 games. I had time to watch 2 games.
As Roy Keane would say, it's your job.
Well, it's not technically. My job is to be a footballer, but I found time to watch the opening game of the WSL. And
do you want a medal, hen?
Yes, I do. Do you not think I could be out drinking wine?
What have I let myself in for with you, Per?
Well. The way that you two look at each other.
You're not my manager anymore.
I know.
I know. Yeah.
Listen, I've got lots of stories about Rouge, so don't worry
I've got lots
that.
about you.
I mean,
Please feel free. We could do this all day. All day. How are you?
Good, very good.
You've had
Rejuvenated.
Pardon?
Rejuvenated.
Good. That's full summer off then, obviously post-Olympics. So
Yeah,
a wee bit of the summer off.
holidays, yeah, lots of holidays. I think post-Olympics, went on holiday, came back. So I've only been back, a week or so. So yeah, enjoying myself.
We just spoke briefly there before we've come into the studio and you were saying that you feel like you're a new person again, or you found yourself. What do you mean by that?
So look, in football, I don't care what anyone says, right? They say be authentic. Every course you go on, be authentic, but you can't be. You can't be. I come away from it and I realised that it sucks the life. I became a robot and it sucked the life out of me a little bit, and I lost myself, I think. So now I've come out of it, got a spring in my step, can actually find my personality again, the little one that I did have, and enjoy myself, yeah. So yeah, I'm at the minute, I'm just enjoying life.
I find that so refreshing to hear, because it's something that you speak about as well. Like quite often, while still being a player, there are things you just shouldn't talk about or won't talk about, and then you probably sometimes say too much with no ill intent, with no ill intent. You're like sanctioned because it's like you shouldn't have a voice because
I don't think I say anything bad, but I think it is like that. Like when you worked as a manager, it's like you're representing a club, so you're representing a badge, so they just want everyone to fall into line, and you almost become a bit like a robot.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you have a personality? Because you've just to say what they want you to say. So I've got no time for it, to be honest, and I never will have, and I will never learn that, because then I'm not me, and I like to be me.
Yeah.
So
you should change everything about yourself, though.
Really?
I disagree.
I'm joking.
I disagree. I think the game needs more Rouges.
Thank you.
What bit of Russia?
What you see is what you get. Do you know what? I was actually at a sports conference the other day, and there were some unbelievable people in the room, and everybody talks, particularly all of the TV
broadcasters.
Yeah, broadcasters, the partners. Everyone wants to see personality, right? So they want to know who people are. They want to know all about the player, what they do, why they do it. Same with the managers. But you don't have that access.
Because the clubs don't let them.
I would argue, yeah.
I would argue too, like, players are now scared because they're scared of what clubs might think or what national teams might think. So again, it's like, and then if you think of like Lionesses, they're all media trained. So every answer they give is a media answer. How was the game? Oh yeah, I thought we played well. And you're like, snoozing, boyle. Do you know what I mean? Like, but everyone's scared to just be like, actually say what they want to say. But I get it, because there might be backlash too. You say something wrong, you get backlash. So it's probably a scary place to be, especially with how big they've become in a short space of time.
Do you know the only one time I ripped up the hymn sheet? Well, not the only time, may I add, but possibly one of them. After we got beat to Chelsea 6-0, the day Emma decided to tell the nation she was leaving. And we'd just been hammered 6-0, worst defeat certainly in my career. And I looked at Emma and I said, what do I say here? What do I say? Because I thought, I'm getting the sack after this game. That's what I thought, I'm getting the sack after this game. I've just been beat 5 games on the trot, I'm going. And she said, go and be yourself. Don't listen to anything else, go and be yourself. And I did. And then I started talking about the reality of the fact of what you give. You're a mum, you're a mum to the players as well as your daughter. You actually just be you. And I think that saved my job. That one interview after the game. But I ripped up the hymn sheet, didn't speak about anything other than what I actually felt in that moment.
Carla was a mum to the players because I used to ask her after training, I'm like, can I get a tenner for a bottle of wine? So it was always good.
There was a day, actually. What was it that you did?
In fairness,
I'll buy you a bottle of wine.
In fairness, I moved my seat for a new signing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Emily
So I made a
killed
bit.
it.
Yes.
She
Came home crying that day,
Yeah.
Carla.
I know.
Oh, they wouldn't do it to anyone
offer her.
else.
I offered her a bottle of wine.
Yeah. I got it 8 months later.
The thing is now, she's upgraded though from the tenner bottle. We're now on
yeah.
the Whispering Angel, and that's £21. So,
Go to Aldi.
right. Apparently they've got a version, haven't
They
they?
have, and it's exactly the same.
Is it?
Yes.
We need to try this.
We need to try it.
You do.
We'll try it.
You do.
Get it in for the truth just a little bit later on, not to production. You mentioned like being yourself. Your advice came from Emma Hayes that day. She is like a mentor to you. You two have a lovely relationship. You were part of her coaching backroom staff for the Olympics. She always is herself. I can't really imagine her listening to anyone who's telling her what to say or do. Is that like, how much do you learn from her when you're in her company?
I would argue she's so good because she does listen, she does want to learn, she does want to take in people's opinions, and I think that's vital, but ultimately she will make the decision. I think, look, I've been very vocal ever since that day one. I think you were there actually. My second game as in the WSL as Birmingham manager, we played Chelsea, and I'm thinking we're going to get absolutely walloped here in the position we were in. But yeah, we spoke before the game, and she was like, anything you need, let me know. I mean, if you're going to say that to me and I need your help, then I'm going to bug you, right? So I did. So we become, I would say, friends. And yeah, she guided me. I would say things in the media that I shouldn't have said, and she'd be on the phone. Don't say this. You need some help. And yeah, she guided me. And because I needed it as well. I was raw, and I was often a little bit like Rush, say what I think. And sometimes that can hurt you, and she really guided me. But she guided me with a lot, through good and through bad, and we had a really turbulent year that year, as everybody knows, at Birmingham. So I think without her, I would have struggled big time.
How have we been trusted to do this?
I'm wondering if a professional setup will maybe make you a bit more professional, or?
I think for like the first 10 minutes, and then I will be absolute carnage.
This is the point though.
What's the point?
We're kicking it back. You kick back, you relax, put your feet up. We'll talk about football. We'll talk about women's sport. We'll talk about those big achievements that we kind of don't get to focus on an awful lot.
I'm more focused on like me, in my opinion, and how many people I can offend. And I feel like that's good for the name, because that's a kickback. Think of all the kickback, all the drama we will get from this. I'm loving it.
Welcome along to the studio, kicking it back, Anita Asante, the legend that is, former Arsenal, former Chelsea, just broadcaster, kind of doing everything.
Lioness.
Yeah. Lioness.
Lioness. Legend of the game. Absolute legend of the game.
There's something else I've forgotten out.
Villa. She was at Villa too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nates, did you ever think you would see the day that me and you are kicking it back in a studio?
No, I didn't. Like, we're normally kicking it back at pre-activation, half an hour before everyone else.
Loading our Achilles.
Yeah, loading you know, the old bodies. So.
Yeah.
How are you? I'm so glad you're our first guest, because you're a proper WSL, having been there and done it all. And the game's like going on to another level now, and now you get to speak about it, which is great.
Yeah, well, I feel honoured to be your first guest, obviously.
But
yeah, no, it's been amazing. I think for all of us to sort of witness the growth of the WSL, in the fan base, you know, the level of competition as well, and it's exciting to see just how far it can keep going.
And you're a mama now as well, like
Yeah,
a baby at home with everything just happening, and then you look at your wee girl and think one day she could be a footballer, and it's such a different world now.
100%. And I think I'm trying to force the issue by having inflatable balls all around the house. But yeah, 100%. Like, you know, obviously you'll know it's probably the hardest job there is to be a mum and raise a child. But I think what a great time for her to be growing up in, seeing women's football across TV on all different platforms, and hopefully, you know, it becomes her norm. You know, she'll just walk into that world and think, I can do it, and there's no sort of barriers or obstacles to doing that.
I've got a big question there. Who will she represent? Will it be Wales or England?
Oh, Rush, you do what you do.
Don't rile up Beth at home.
Don't rile up.
Don't rile up Beth. Someone check the Twitter.
I'm 100%
I'm
behind
actually
Beth on this.
sweating.
But seriously, like, if your wee one is good enough to represent the international stage, like, who would she want to choose?
Ultimately, it's her decision, but my part in that is taking her to as many games as possible at Wembley or whatever to watch the Lionesses, and hopefully she just falls in love with them and is like, that's exactly where I need to be. So you know where my goal is on that one.
It's funny because Rucha's niece, my daughter, is now torn between mum being Scottish, half Irish. Our auntie plays for Republic of Ireland. She spends a lot of time at games anyway. She keeps singing about Beth Mead being on fire. You know, then we talked to her about the Lionesses and we're like, who are you going to choose? And she's always going, now, England. And Rucha's like, no, written up all the flags and all that she's been drawing. You don't say that.
Really?
Take that word out.
It's a bad word. That's money in the swear jar, actually.
It's a swear word.
But it's
that.
brilliant. And we've got lots to look forward to this season as well. I feel like we've said that the last few times, and we know, having you guys been in the game for so long, but as we've watched the game progress since following you guys, but like, is this a new level of standard in terms of where the game is going, the WSL growing again, and the Championship?
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, I mean, the investment is unreal, you know, especially at the top level of the game, the money going into the quality on the pitch and obviously the resources. I think there's still a ways to go. I think there's still like parity that needs to happen between the clubs sort of sitting in the middle and the bottom of that top WSL, and obviously the Championship are trying to be more professional. But generally, I think in terms of attendances, you're looking at Arsenal and the Emirates and Chelsea playing at Stamford Bridge and Man United at Old Trafford. Like, clubs are starting to really support their women's teams. And I think that's obviously helping the product grow. But, you know, I think we wish it could happen sooner.
Absolutely. But I don't know if we'll be able to compete actually now. I'm past it a bit, but yeah. But I totally agree with what you're saying there. But I fear that the top 3-4 clubs might be breaking away. If you look at like the investment they've got, like the salaries that their players have got on, and the players that they're attracting compared to teams at the middle and the bottom. So it's like, how do we balance that out? Obviously, we've got the new co coming on board, but how do we benefit from that? How will we make it work? How will we make it an even playing field is what I want to know.
Well, I just think that's the challenge, isn't it? Is that the football kind of culture is every club, it has its own self-interest and they want to build as quickly and as success as quickly as possible. So are they looking at the wider picture, the wider competition? And obviously clubs get left behind if they can't marry up to that. And they're going to try and look at different avenues to try and compete to do that. But I think it's going to be difficult because we're seeing with the professional game, the way it's going, that's just something that happens. And I think it will be up to NUCO to think about creative ways to make sure that they can keep the competition as competitive and as fair as possible.